everyone, good morning. You're watching Market Fatafat right here on ET. Now, your daily dose of all the big movers and shakers today in trade. But before we kickstart the countdown, here's thanking all our viewers because yet again, ET Now has emerged as India's #1 business news channel with a 46% share. So thank you viewers for placing your trust with ET Now. Well, let's kickstart the show then and bring on board our research analysts as well as technical experts to join in with their individual stocks that they have identified. We have with us Soumya Sharma, Kunal Bothra as well as Abhijit Pathak of Definet Solutions on the technicals. Good morning to all of you. Thanks so much for joining in. And let's kickstart the show with the very first stock on our radar, and it's got to be from the realty space because yet again, this is one counter that seems to be buzzing away in trade. I particularly want to flag of Godrej Properties on account of the very optimistic note that has been released by CLSA. They do have a buy stance over here on this stock, but they are saying that what's really encouraging them is the record new launches by the company, and that's something that's really driving share gains. They see that it's also being supported by project pipeline and a faster churn, and they're all set to achieve their launch goals in the second half of FY20, pardon me. There also is that strong response to the Pune affordable launch, which indicates good end user demand as well. So Godrej Properties is a big gainer. It's higher by more than 2%. Kunal, let's talk about Union Bank. It's a PSB of flagging off and it's showing good traction. What's your observation?
So yes, Mubina, many of the PSU banking names have been doing pretty well since last few days and weeks. But Union Bank case in point is on the verge of a strong breakout on the monthly charts, and I'm talking of a rounding bottom pattern breakout, and rarely do you see such kind of patterns because Union Bank has been consolidating in a big range, I think from April or May 2018. So to come back with a rounding bottom formation and breaking out of that, I think says volumes for itself, and I believe that this should be a very good comeback for many of the PSU names. I have highlighted Union Bank as of now, suggesting a short-term buy as well, looking at the strong momentum and the volumes, 102 plus as a target, and stop loss could be kept around that 90 mark.
Okay, so that's the word coming in on Union Bank. As we speak, it's near the day's high. But it's not just PSBs, even PSUs have been showing a lot of traction. Abhijit, GAIL is a stock, that's gaining today in trade. What would you observe?
Yeah, GAIL is very strong, and if it closes above 360, it can go towards 390. Stop loss of below 345. GAIL can be bought with a target for a target of 390.
Okay, and here's another stock that's gaining. In fact, today it's the third straight day of gain seen, and that's Yes Bank. Soumya?
Well, talking about Yes Bank, the management recently met over 35 foreign investors over the last 2-3 weeks, and the newly appointed MD and CEO Ravneet Gill was part of all these meetings. Well, they spoke to T. Rao Price, Capital Research, Franklin Templeton and Westbridge, and the key takeaways from this meeting include that the company is the top priorities for the company is capital raising, and it's in process for hiring someone for its retail operations. The company has been focusing a lot on the compliance and is willing to resolve all their issues with the RBI. The company is working on a detailed strategy for now to manage all of this.
All right, so that's of course the view on a Yes Bank, which is high by 1.7%. Another stock that's buzzing is Radico Khaitan. Now, Motilal Oswal did interact with the management recently, and the management gave out very positive commentary. Well, first up, they believe that double-digit volume growth in the prestige and above segment, which is of course the higher margin segment, can continue, for the next couple of years. And not just that, they have seen a sharp improvement in sales in Uttar Pradesh. So that of course is very encouraging because do remember around 20% of their sales comes from UP. So it's an important market for them, and with that market showing a pickup in sales, very substantial pickup in sales, would certainly bode well for Radico Khaitan. All right, next up we have Equitas. That is something that Kunal is flagging off. Kunal, why is that?
Stocks from similar space, NBFC stroke financial services names, they've been doing pretty well, and we've seen that collectively many of these stocks, whether it's the mid cap names or the large cap names, they've shown some very good signs of positive price action. So Equitas is what I've highlighted. 128 is the 200 moving average support, which I believe is a very strong support now, and stock could rise till almost 145, 146 levels.
Okay, so that's Equitas for you. Abhijit, ONGC today is taking a bit of a backseat. What would you observe and what would you recommend?
ONGC is a buy on dip with a, of course, not here because the stop loss is a bit far off below 145, between 140 145 is the stop loss. But as long as that holds, I expect ONGC to go higher towards 180.
So Abhijit still retains his optimistic stance on ONGC. 156 is where it's currently perched. United Breweries, meantime, do remember Heineken has evinced interest in buying a stake in the company and increasing their stake in the company rather. And they wanted to do so by purchasing Vijay Mallya and family's stake, which is lying currently with the Debt Recovery Tribunal. They have done so. They have purchased 74 lakh shares, thus upping their stake by 2.8%. United Breweries, as we speak, is just about higher by 0.1%. So, Amir, what's the news on Sheela Foam?
Well, talking about the offer for sale by the founders, well, the retail, the non-retail investors part got good response and got 2.8 times of demand on the day one with an indicative price of 1,185 per share. And the OFS for retail investors opens today. The stock reacting to the news flow.
All right, moving on then. Unichem Labs has seen some action. Is seeing some pricing action, rather good gain seen over here after the company has received the final ANDA nod from the US FDA for tadalafil tablets, and on the back of that we have seen right from the word go Unichem Labs post a very strong uptick, 5 rupees just in today's trading session, 200 rupees now for Unichem Labs. But now here's a stock we don't flag off very often, that's ACE. It's 3% higher today in trade.
So yes, Mubina, and just looking at the volume patterns from the mid-cap stocks, ACE stood out in terms of the volume patterns because the last 3 days the average volumes have jumped up almost 2 to 3 times. Then you look at it in terms of the price actions, the price from sub 100 levels is now clearly closing into breaking out of that 200 moving average, which is the last time you had seen maybe a year back approximately for the stock price. So it's a collective move because based on strong volume patterns and this critical moving average breakout, I believe that there could be a turnaround of sorts for the stock price. It's a mid-cap name and slightly high beta in nature. 120 plus is where I would place the targets on ACE, and stop loss could be kept at 102 levels.
All right, just before we continue with the countdown, I want to address the flashes on your screens, and that is M&M has hiked its, the prices of its cars as well as commercial vehicles by half to 2.7% from the 1st of April. Do remember that we recently did have Tata Motors as well announcing a price hike, with effect from April of about 25,000 rupees. And now M&M is going to be hiking prices, so it's to the tune on an absolute figure from 5,000 to 70,000 rupees depending on the variant of the model. And this is for both passenger vehicles as well as commercial vehicle cars. Remember that there has been this entire environment of rising input costs or raw material prices. So I think that's what's prompting these automakers, to hike their prices. And look at the way M&M stock price has actually surged. It's 0.3% higher now. And of course, most of the gains has only come in after the news piece has flashed on your screens right there. It's at the day's high, 662 for M&M. And yeah, certainly, it looks like the street is reading into this news very positively, though I don't know, potential consumers may not be reading into this news very well. Well, let's, without any further ado, move on to the next stock. And NBFCs have been the flavor of the season. Abhijit, Shriram Transport, what would be your view?
Yes, Shriram Transport also is a bullish stock. Only problem is the stop loss is a bit wide, much lower, 1175. But if that holds, it can go much higher towards 1500 or even 1600. It's quite a bullish chart.
All right. Well, moving on to the next stock, Soumya, Tata Motors, S&P has once again cut their credit rating.
Yes, that's a little setback for the company. S&P has cut JLR and Tata Motors credit ratings on Brexit worries. Well, it is B positive from BB negative following JLR's weaker than expected Q3 results. They say that the cut in Jaguar rating is due to there will be further cut in the ratings if there is no deal Brexit, or if Washington slaps new imports tariffs on the cars. This is likely to increase companies' funding cost and highlights growing concerns globally.
All right. Well, moving on to the next stock, and that is Khadim, a footwear company, which we don't flag off very often, but look at the way the stock has moved. It's double-digit gain seen over there, and it's 16% higher. This after UTI Mutual Fund has checked into the counter, purchasing about 5.5 lakh shares. So this institutional interest is something that has caused Khadim to rally a neat 16% as we speak. So Amir, very quickly, Kridhan Infra as well has seen a bulk deal.
Well, yes, the stock has been in focus on back of this bulk deal. India Man Fund Mauritius bought 31.6 lakh shares, with the seller being Aquarius Capital Mauritius, and the stock has been focused for the same reason and gaining by 1.5%.
Okay, well, on that note, we'll take a quick breather right here on the countdown of the big movers and shakers. Stay tuned. This is Market Fatafat.
1100 plus should be an immediate target on the stock price, which I believe could be achieved over the next 1 to 2 weeks, and stop loss could be kept at 995 levels for a fresh buy at current levels.
Okay, so that's the view coming in on an MGL. Let's talk about NBCC meantime, which has received approximately 5 odd orders, aggregating a little over 1,000 crore rupees. This is something NBCC announced yesterday on the stock exchanges, and hence you did see that uptick come by in the stock price. Remember, 5 different orders, and it's aggregating a little over 1,000 crore rupees. So NBCC is higher by a little over 1%. Abhijit, we are seeing a lot of momentum come by in these mid-cap IT names. Take Solutions is one, which is now gaining 5%. What would be your word here?
Yeah, Take Solutions is bullish. In fact, I am just waiting for a close above 142, which is almost. In fact, it has made a high of 143 odd, and above that it can go towards 170, 165, 170.
Okay, so that's on Take Solutions. Soumya, DHFL, some news over there keeping the stock active.
Yes, in fact, Mubina, the stock has been gaining for the past 3 days and has gained close to about more than 12% in this period. It happens to be the top gainer in Nifty Mid-Cap 50 Index. Well, reports have emerged that Piramal Group and Baring Private Equity are in advanced stage of negotiations to acquire majority stake in DHFL.
Okay, so that's DHFL for you. Kunal, Edelweiss, why is that on your radar?
So again, stocks from similar space have been doing pretty well. Edelweiss has been going through a big correction in the last few quarters. Now I believe that the stock is trying to make a good comeback. Generally when you see bullish flag patterns getting formed, these are technical terms, on the first stage of a recovery, it generally is a sign of a strong bottom in place, and Edelweiss is showcasing exactly those kind of a pattern. So at 190 odd levels, it's showing a bullish flag pattern. It's below its 200 moving average. So I believe that the breakout should lead the stock higher till about 205 to 210 levels, and that should take the stock higher above its 200 DMA as well. So Edelweiss could be a good bet. From current levels, 205 plus should be a target range, and stop loss at around 187.
Okay, so that's the view coming in then on an Edelweiss, which as we speak is near the day's high. Another sector that's doing very well today in trade is the fertilizer space. So you put your finger on any of these fertilizer stocks, Rashtriya Chemicals for that matter is gaining 2.5%, Chambal Fertilizers, GSFC, all of these stocks are gaining very, very smartly. So we're seeing a lot of traction come by in the fertilizer stocks, and that's the reason why that's a sector that is on our radar. Aarti Industries, meantime, Abhijit as well is seeing a lot of pricing action. What would be your recommendation here?
Yes, Aarti Industries is a very bullish chart, and only thing is stop loss is a bit lower, more than 100 rupees lower at 1400. But this is a stock which can go much higher, maybe towards 1700 in the next couple of months.
Okay, it's 2.7% lower, but Abhijit has a bullish stance on this one. 1400 is where he recommends you can place your stop loss. Soumya, HCL Tech today seeing great gains.
Well, yes, and it happens to be a top Nifty gainer today. Well, Bank of America has upgraded the stock to buy from neutral stance, and they expect organic revenue growth rate to improve in FY20. They add that accelerated win rate in the key offering of cloud and infrastructure services, and success and challenges of the recent buyout of software products from IBM would be visible only on a 12 months, more than 12 months time horizon, and this deal happens to be EPS accretive till then. They've raised their FY20 to 21 EPS by 2 to 6% and have also lifted the price target from 1060 to 1250 rupees.
All right, and that's something that's keeping the stock price very, very active. Like I said, top Nifty gainer. But I think what's competing with HCL Tech and being the top Nifty gainer is Indiabulls Housing. Kunal?
So yes, Mubina, and after quite a bit of a time, you are seeing this stock trying to make a good comeback. So I think flagged off the stock even yesterday in the same segment, Market Fatafat. The stock was staging a very close to staging a swing breakout today. It's shown confirmation of that swing breakout. So these could be new trend patterns for Indiabulls Housing, and when you see volumes of this stature for the stock, coming out of swing resistances, then I believe it could be a start of a decent up move. Trading at 770 plus levels, I believe Indiabulls Housing could rise another 70 to 75 rupees. So that should take the stock substantially higher to almost 845, 850 levels.
Okay, so that's Indiabulls Housing for you. Moving on to the next stock is a stock we don't flag off very often, and that is Nelco rather. Now, the board of directors yesterday has granted in principle approval for sale of the company's entire investment of approximately 2.5 lakh equity shares, that's 12.3% equity of Nelito Systems Limited at a consideration of 6.77 crores to DTS Corporation Japan. This is something that's keeping the stock price as well active. It's 1.8% higher. Abhijit, your view on all cargo logistics, which again is seeing a lot of pricing action today?
All cargo is also a bullish chart. Only thing is I would like to have a close up of 118, 120. Above which it can go towards 130, even 140. And the stop loss for this is 110.
Okay. Well, moving on to the next stock, Soumya, Shriram Transport.
Well, Shriram Transport in their recent investor interaction said the management is very confident of margins due to yield increases. They say that the company is looking to change their funding mix with a higher share of securitization and retail bonds and deposits. The management expects commercial vehicle market to pick up in second half of FY20 in the run-up to emission norms change affecting new vehicle pricing, and believe the resale value for used trucks to firm up, thereby helping the credit cost. They believe that there is scope to grow the market share from the unorganized lenders in the UCV markets.
All right. And moving on then, we have Eros International as well that we would like to flag off. This after the company has announced a tie-up with a US internet energy service provider to offer video content in small towns and villages, and the stock price is higher. And finally, stock number 30, Soumya, Ramco Cements.
Well, Kotak has on the entire cement sector said that the cement prices in South would be increased by further rupees 5 per bag in March 2019. The prices in South would be up by 45% per bag since January 19, and prices in South are at 30 to 50 per bag premium to other regions.
Well, there you have it. 30 stocks done in under 30 minutes. Thank you to all of you, Soumya, Kunal, to you, and Abhijit, to you as well, for helping our viewers out with your strategies. We'll wrap it up on this edition of Market Fatafat. Stay tuned for Markets at Noon.